Alright, so it's the end of the year, and I don't really have that much stuff left to do the bug. It's getting cold. I mean, maybe a couple little projects I need to do, but in general, the car works. It runs, the lighting works. I think I could drive it on a long drive. But there's a lot of stuff I could fill in. Lots of weird little details that I've got in the car. And basically, the only thing that's left is for me to sit here in front of my computer doing what I'm doing right now, which is just talking. And I don't like being the star. Up to this point, my car has been the star. I'm just this guy who works on the car. And yeah, I think that's right. You put out an informative video. I don't ever plan to monetize my channel. It's just information. You come to the internet, you want information. You don't want commercials. So I put the information out there, and you guys get to make of what you will of it. Now, why would you want to listen to what I have to say? And in a single word, hang on, I think my cat wants to come up and visit. Cat, you coming up? In a single word, I'm a skeptic. So I go over to the Samba, right? And as I read stuff, there's my cat buddy. Hey, cat buddy. All right, so I go over to the Samba, and there's lots of good information over there. And I read what's over there, and sometimes you run across stuff that's either incomplete or inaccurate or completely and totally missing. And in general, what I like to do is make mileage. I'm a mileage guy, I like the idea of getting 40 miles per gallon. Certainly I'm not there. I don't know if it's achievable. I'm pretty sure that with the transmission that I have, I'm not going to be able to do it. I mean, I'm just flat out hosed. Unless I can change my gear ratios, I cannot do it. It's not achievable. But in addition to being a skeptic, I don't take at face value what people tell me. I've been doing this stuff long enough to have read and studied and experimented. I bought my first car when I was 20, 56, and that first car is down there. It's my Blue Beetle. So I've been working on that car and thinking about that car for whatever that works out to be. What's that, 36 years? That's a lot of time to spend thinking about how to, one, make it reliable, and two, make it efficient. So I've got lots of cool ideas. There's things that I've incorporated in my car that I haven't shown or talked about. Again, that's one of those reasons why you'd want to listen to what I'm doing. I may only have 2 cars, and I don't have a shop, but I've been thinking about it for a lot of years. And another reason why you might want to do and listen to me is that decades ago I started working on my car because of, I wish it would show up properly. This is the Carsey Miler manual. There it is. So if I can get that in the picture right. There you go, Carsey Miler manual. Anyway, I bought that thing back in the early 80s, and my grandmother knew that I bought a Beetle. And so she, living in California, had access to newspaper articles on all kinds of weird Volkswagen stuff. It's a big industry out there. So she sent me this article on how to get 50 miles per gallon out of a Beetle, which was actually a common view, but that was just the title of the article. And I took it to heart. So I started accumulating parts, and at some point my motor kind of tore up on me, and I decided, okay, time to dive in and build it. And I've been doing my stuff. Like I say, when I first started, I found a guy in the neighborhood, general neighborhood. So he lived down the street from me about 3 or 4 miles. But he was in the general area. And just an old guy in his 50s, about like I am right now. And, I said, hey, can you help me build this thing? And I kind of said, this is what I'm trying to do. And he says, yeah, we can do that. And I said, one thing you've got to do if you're going to do this for me is you've got to let me kind of be an apprentice. And he said, yeah, no problem. You want to come over and hang out? I won't just build it for you. You can help out. So he was like my mentor, and we did things incorrectly. So I learned from his mistakes, and ran from there. I didn't object to some of the things that we did, and we both learned. And like I said, I was getting an education. It was a cheap education, so it was worth it. But like I say, the motor tore up, and it tore up and tore up, and after the first tear down or two. You know, my mentor was like, this is taking too much time. You have to do it on your own. At which point I said, I can handle it myself. So I've been pretty much my own mechanic since I was about, probably around the time I was 21. So that's years and years and years of doing this. But let's move forward to where we are right now, which is my 73 Beetle in the current build, which is a 1745. And, like I say, I've got a video out there where I did my first mile per gallon run, and I got 30.3 miles per gallon, which contained, I don't know, about a half hour of riding around the town of Salina. So it wasn't all highway driving, but it was, the bulk of it was 65 miles an hour out there on I-70. And so most of you may have heard about that Project Mileage motor they did at the Hobby W magazine, and I think that was probably about 15 years ago. Maybe a little bit more than that. Let me pop it up here real quick. Where is it? There it is. Zoom in a little bit. So there it is. This you can access this article through CB Performance. They've got a link to all the pieces: Part 1, Part 2, Part 3 through Part 16. This is the opening part. This is their goal. They want to get 40 miles per gallon. They accumulated a bunch of parts, just like I did. There was a difference between what they did and what I did, in that they had access to Pat Downs of CB Performance, who picked out some of these components for them. And, of course, they pieced it together, and their first trip down the road produced 29.9 miles per gallon. So my first trip down the road beat their first trip down the road. So that right there is why you want to listen to them. Ultimately, they got their mileage up considerably higher than I am right now, but it took them a while, and they had a transmission. They made transmission changes, and that makes a huge difference. And anyway, this is where I hang out, do my video editing on my computers, my little home office here. But like I say, I mean, why would you want to listen to me? Skeptic, and I beat those guys in my first pass. So, lots of topics, lots of things you can talk about. I don't know who will watch these things. I imagine nobody will actually put something down here in the bottom and say, oh, by the way, Scott, maybe you want to talk about something related to this. Whatever. I mean, if it's got something to do with mileage, I can talk about it. And what's weird is that you go to the Samba. I'm not going to pick on the Samba. Lots of good information over there, but there's nobody over there really that does mileage. So the first thing you do is, hey, I'm trying to build a mileage motor, and they'll say fuel injection, which kind of goes against it. It goes against the grain. It's like it's an economy vehicle, and I think that if I stick a carburetor on there and tune it properly, I can get as much as you get with your fuel injection. It won't be as broad ranged, but I'm just talking about cruising down the highway at 65 for the bulk of the time, and that's what I want to do. And I can achieve that with a carburetor, save myself some money, put it into some other components. Who knows? And but anyway, like I say, as we head into winter here and the car gets put away, I'd still like to put out a couple of videos, informational type videos. And the first topic I think I want to go and dive into is one that I was just over on the Samba goofing around with. It's called Squish. Doesn't tell me why. So I read the entire thing, and I got to the end of it. I'm like, yeah, why? Why does this Squish do what it does? And in general, there's two things about Squish. I think they're both incorrect. Understand I say think. Be a skeptic. If you disagree with me, great, fantastic. Listen to my argument. I'll put the video up. And if you think I'm wrong, hey, great, then you're a skeptic. Maybe you need to go read what's on the Samba. And maybe you'll be skeptical about what they say. And you can come up with an alternative. But there are three things that Squish has the possibility of doing. I think it only does one. And you will not find that on the Samba unless you read what I wrote about it. But I'm going to put a video on here about Squish. I think that's going to be my first independent topic that isn't specifically my 73 Beetle. And like I said, I don't really know how to end this video, but at some point I just go, hey, I'm Scott. In general, my videos don't feature me. You don't know what I look like in general. I don't have the beard. This is just kind of a wintertime type thing. And I typically don't have hair this long. I'm in need of a haircut. I am a guy. I got a couple of kids. I've got a part-time job. I'm also a student at KU. That's who I am and why you might want to listen to what I have to say. So long for now.